JGT, what's up, brother?
My man. Hey, I correctly surmised what you were up to.
You did.
I had a feeling that you were in charge of getting a certain youngster fed.
110%. You know, this time of the night, there's only two things that are going to keep my attention away from a brain drain. And it's either A, my commanding officer called and said, Alan, get your ass down here right now, or two, my kiddo is hungry and demanding food. So it was the latter of the two, but I'm glad to be here with you guys now.
Hell yeah. We're not sure how to feel about this win, Jhead. It's awesome to win an SEC game by 2 touchdowns, but the way that it happened with that kind of a wet fart there in the second half, I don't know, man. How do you feel about it?
Look, at this stage in the game, Jay, for me, a win is a win. And I know that you've coined this term. We classically tubber-shelled that one and tried to protect the lead and protect the defense. And took the air out of it. And so it was kind of anticlimactic. It would have felt a lot better if we'd have continued what we were doing in the first half with the efficiency that we had through the air. But, look, you did what you had to do. It starts with one victory, and hopefully it can turn into 2 next week against Vanderbilt. You get 2 against Vanderbilt, maybe that turns into 3 against Arkansas, and all of a sudden 7-5 is truly on the table for you. So everything has to have a starting point. And, yes, I don't like the fact that you know, you kind of had to hang on there at the end. But in this first season, you take what you can when you can. Whether it's always pretty or not, a win is a win. And that definitely helps you in recruiting, and that helps you as far as how the kids feel in the locker room, which is ultimately, at the end of the day, you're trying to create good chemistry in year one. You're trying to create good culture, and a win absolutely helps with that. Yeah,
for sure. And the first half, I mean, I felt like they kind of unlocked a little something in Peyton Thorne, man. He looked really good.
He did. He got in rhythm. He's a rhythm quarterback. They utilized tempo. I think you saw it take its toll on the defense in the second half. They got upwards in their snaps, and just like you said multiple times over, once they start to get north of 50, those first-team guys, it's just not the same defense. And you could kind of see them break a little bit there in the second half. But I think that's a delicate balance that Hugh Freeze is just going to have to play. For so much of this season, the offense has just kind of played scared, right? You know, they've made these multiple substitutions where you're trying to get every play perfect. You're doing the Gus thing, where you want every intricate detail to be in place, and you're trying to call the perfect play all the time. Well, this is not rocket surgery, okay? You can't call the perfect game. And even if you do call the perfect game, execution is going to get in the way at times. So you have to play loose. You have to play free. They did that in the first half. You saw what the kids are capable of doing when they're having fun. I hope you see more of that next week against Vanderbilt because, look, they got 2 safeties in the back end. I swear to God, brother, if me and you were running 7 routes, Peyton could lay it up to us and we could score touchdowns. So there's a chance for them to go downtown next week as well.
Yeah, that'd be great, man, to kind of get, some conference synergy going. 2 wins in a row, that'd be a good start.
Two wins in a row. You more or less probably lock up bowl eligibility at that point because New Mexico State is pretty much a given. I mean, I also once thought Jacksonville State was pretty much a given, so I guess anything could be a stretch these days. But, that's a big one next week, and hopefully Freeze will not play tight. He'll play loose in the first half like they did this time, and maybe they can kind of complete everything. And that's a little bit of a different battle next week because Vanderbilt is more talented offensively than Mississippi State, but they are worse defensively, significantly worse defensively. So there's some trade-offs there in that game. But I know everybody's probably a little tight. They wanted that blowout. They wanted us to look good all the way around. I get it. But you got to start someplace, right? And this ends a 4-game skid. So anytime you can get off the schneid, everybody's got to have a slump buster every now and again, right?
No.
This was a slump buster game. Yeah, this was a slump buster game for Auburn. They got out of the funk. Jarquez Hunter goes over 100 yards. Peyton Thorne throws for over 2. You think you had over 400 yards of total offense in this game or close to it. In an SEC game, I didn't even know that we were capable of that this year. So let's call that a win.
Yeah. And the teams, I mean, you can say they showed improvement. I mean, they played fairly okay against Ole Miss. Ole Miss is the better team, but the LSU game was just rock bottom. And I thought they showed improvement against Ole Miss, and then today I think it was another step forward. I'm a little more disappointed in the second half maybe than you are, maybe some other folks are, but overall. I mean, a 2-touchdown win, fuck it. Yeah, that's good.
No, I mean, I think you see it for what it is, right? Like you started off hot and then you just kind of faded, and you would like to see a complete effort there, right? Specifically against a team that offensively has struggled the way that Mississippi State has, and without their starting quarterback. But I think in this situation, given where Auburn is from a mental standpoint and how they have to play at an emotional high to get a win, because the talent level just is what it is. And I'm not trying to bag on the kids. Look, they did a fantastic job tonight. They won. They played somebody that was probably equal to them in talent level tonight. And I think that you saw coaching take over and Freeze not play things as tightly as he has. When you're playing teams like we went on that 4-game streak where every team – just look at the recruiting rankings. Okay, and I know stars aren't everything, right? But if you look at the aggregate of stars on the last 4 set of teams that we just played, they outnumber us in blue-chip players almost twofold. So when you're doing that, you're trying to gain an advantage in every little thing that you do, and I felt like Freeze got way too into his bag, and or Philip Montgomery, whoever was calling the offense, and just kind of call game scared and call game safe, trying to keep things close. Well, today they opened things up because they played an opponent that they were much better suited to play and perform and play to their game plan, right? Like the first half is the way Hugh Freeze wants to play offensive football, right? I think me and you both would agree they want to play with pace. They want to spread things out. They want to create one-on-ones. They want to have that vertical shot offense with post-snap adjustment by the receivers where you have the ability to game break, game in, game out. You saw some of that. And as they continue to recruit and acquire talent, you're going to continue to see more of that. But they'll probably pick their spots with it down the back half because I think Hugh Freeze is trying to get not just to 6-6. I think 7-5 would mean something to them. You're flipping that 5-7 number you had last year. You're showing a 2-game improvement if you can get to that point. And again, who knows? Arkansas may come out there and play like gangbusters, but my guess is they're going to get their teeth kicked in next week against Florida and Gainesville. And they're going to be in a real wounded state. So if you can get a big one against Vanderbilt, everything's on the table.
I guess, hey, I've been watching Auburn so long, man. I get so scared about Fayetteville, dude, because we've seen some eggs get laid up there, you know?
Brother, listen, we've seen eggs get laid in Fayetteville, and we've also seen eggs get laid in Nashville when you're having weird years, right?
That's true.
Auburn has gone to Nashville and played some ugly, ugly games. So next week, we can't afford to overlook Vanderbilt. Look, they're terrible. The stadium is bad. But all that being the case, Auburn has to treat this like it's a Super Bowl, and they have to get up. And in a situation like this where there's not a lot of a crowd, I mean, I think you're sitting south of 30,000 people, you got to bring your own energy. So Freeze is going to have these guys ready to play. And sometimes when you're in Auburn and you're going to play Vanderbilt, you have this thing where you think, like, we're automatically better than these guys, right? That's just kind of a mindset. We were recruited to Auburn. This is Vanderbilt. We should automatically go out here and beat these guys. You can't have that mindset next week because you do that, Vanderbilt's going to put up points on you, and then you're going to find yourself in a real precarious situation where you're in a shootout with Vanderbilt. That's not where you want to be.
No, you don't want to be there at all. Do you like the idea of giving Jarquez pretty much full carte blanche to run the ball today and be the guy? Do you like that? Because they've been collaborating more in the recent past.
They have, and they've been trying. They picked their spots with him. I felt like he was still south of 20 carries. As much as he was the guy today, he was still south of 20 carries. So they did utilize the platoon. But I am in favor. I think they've preserved him enough throughout the year that you can start to use him and grind on him in games like Gus used to grind on backs. And he gets better. The more touches he gets, the better he gets, like a lot of running backs, specifically the strong ones. So
Kenny Irons.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's time to start riding Jarquez a little bit, make sure that you're utilizing him in both the pass and the run game. Be creative with him. He can do a lot of different things for you. And like I said, you kind of got to go for broke in these next 3 games. These are what more or less make or break your season. Because if you can go from we didn't even have an SEC win to having 3 SEC wins all of a sudden. You beat a Cal team in their place who now just upset USC, I believe. Those are some things to build on, Jay. Like in a year one when me and you both knew that this roster was fucked. Forgive me for my language there, but it was.
Yeah.
to be able to put up 7 wins, get to bowl eligibility, potentially get 8, and stack a top 10 recruiting class on top of that. That's what Hugh Freeze needed to do this year. As ugly as it's been at times, it will still, at the end of the day, be what he needed to do.
Yeah. I would agree with you on that. I like the way it's trending. I do.
I do too.
Yeah.
You feel a little bit better. Look, you got one you had to have. Now, hopefully, they won't play so tight moving forward. You'll go to Vanderbilt. You get another one that you got to have. Even more pressure on that off, and they'll go to Fayetteville, and hopefully they'll play well.
That's what I'm talking about. Jhead, thanks for giving us some time on a Saturday, kind of earlier, round feeding time. I know you got stuff
round
going on.
feeding time. Yeah, but that's still look. Anytime I get a chance, the opportunity to talk to you, brother, or speak on this platform, or in the drain, or on the bunker, I obviously want to take that opportunity each and every time. And I hope each of you guys have a great night tonight. Okay.
All right, Jhead, be good, brother.
Sounds good, buddy.
See you, man. Bye.
Bye.
There he is, Jhead. How would I rate the quality of this call? 5 stars.